That's what drew me to it. And also John Cryer.
Yeah, that's what drew me to it, was me.
I'm Jordan. I'm here with Pop Culture Planet. Lovely to meet you both.
It's lovely to meet you. You have a great background.
I'm in New Hampshire. It's very winter, snowy vibes. So Extended Family, hilarious show. I've been watching, with my parents as well. We've been laughing the entire time. I'd love to know if there are any moments, while filming that you guys just could not keep it together, that you were just cracking up, had a hard time getting through the scene.
That happens quite a bit. It's usually through frustration that we start the laugh. Mike O'Malley is a very, very unique writer and writes. It's almost like poetry, and if you mess it up, the joke doesn't make sense, like most jokes. But if one word is off or anything like that, it's kind of messy. So you get frustrated because you want to give him the best that you want his words to shine through, but sometimes you miss the or the and it's like, it didn't work the way I wanted it to.
The whole thing falls apart. It's like a Jenga tower. It just goes, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, come on. We crack up all the time. Mostly just because we're foolish people. Yeah. And we can't believe we get paid for this.
I love Mike O'Malley. He went to the same college as I did. So
nice.
New Hampshire. Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So speaking of his writing, your characters are based loosely on real people in a real situation, one of them being your executive producer. How did those real people inspire and influence, your performance in these characters?
That's interesting. The guy who Jim is based on is a guy named George Gere, who is actually on the writing staff. So I get to hear him, hear the way he talks, the way his attitude about things, and it's very helpful because he's just 100% wise ass, 100%. So I actually have to tone that down a little for Jim, but it is fascinating watching him and Amelia, the woman who is his ex-wife, seeing how they relate, because they just constantly give each other shit, constantly, and that's really and it's great because they do that, but you can still see the love, and that's really the trick. I mean, the reason that we cast Abigail Spencer was that when she and I argued, you could still see the love. And that's actually, it takes being very precise to get that. But Donald, have you gotten a chance to spend much time with Wick?
We've hung out like during basketball games and stuff like that. And he is very much, at first I was like, I don't think I'm doing him justice. And then I watched him for a little bit and I was like, oh, wow. Trey and Wick are a lot alike. Trey's love for Julia is like Wick's love for Amelia. Like he's very good at his business and everything like that, but he falls apart in front of her. You know what I mean? And that's something that I think Trey does too, because Trey's really good at his business, but to be able to handle what's going on in his life with his fiancés, and it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Wick is, he's a powerful guy. He owns the Boston Celtics and has to make a lot of tough decisions and stuff like that. But he's also a bit of a Boy Scout. And that's one of the things that I like about Trey's character is that there's this part of him that's really a Boy Scout. In a guy who just sort of ended up being really, really wealthy. So it's fascinating to see.
He could totally do like the whole Indiana Jones thing if need be. Like if let's just say him and Jim were for some reason camping in the Utah mountains and happened to stumble on the Cross of Coronado. Trey would know what to do with that. He'd know where it belongs. It belongs in a museum. He'd know that.
You have these real people to kind of draw on. Are there any experiences or moments in your own marriages or parenting moments that you kind of drew inspiration from?
One of the reasons that I love the pilot, the pilot is about a dead goldfish, and what do parents do when the child's pet dies. And it's actually a super old sitcom trope. We just wanted to do our version of it. But I loved it because I had recently experienced the death of my child's guinea pig, and the absolute wave of adrenaline-soaked terror that went through me when I realized my child's pet was dead was just like something I had never experienced, and just the utter panic. And had I had access to a similarly colored guinea pig at the time, I would have 100% tried to swap it out. But unfortunately, it had very distinctive markings, so I had no choice but to be honest about the situation. So our pilot was a bit of a fantasy for me.
I feared that moment. Like, we have a bearded dragon in the house, and we have a tortoise. I think the tortoise is going to outlive us, but the bearded dragon, there's a possibility that it doesn't. And I worry the day we come home and the bearded dragon isn't moving.
I mean, perks of the tortoise. You never have to deal with that moment. There you go.
Well, the tortoise is not only going to outlive us, the tortoise is probably going to outlive the next people that live in this house too.
They
live forever.
That's great. One final question here. You've both been in multiple sitcoms. You're very familiar with the genre. What kind of caught your eye about this specific series and wanted to keep you in the sitcom genre?
This story has never been told before. I don't think there's like fantasy versions of it, like Three's Company and stuff like that. But that's, and I guess that's realistic, but this is not only a great way to get through divorce, it's not only a lesson in it, but I've never seen anything like this on television where, there's obvious love and caring between two ex-partners, but there's a new guy in the mix too. Like, I can't recall a show like this, and so I that's what drew me to it, and also Jon Cryer.
Yeah, that's what drew me to it, was me. For me, it was that Mike O'Malley's kind of loopy writing. He has a very interesting, circuitous writing style, and also that it's got this very fast-paced kind of screwball pace to it that is unusual in sitcoms. 2.5 Men was, all these shows kind of set their own vibe. And 2.5 Men was very slow, and that was just the best way the show worked, but this show is very fast and full of words and ideas, and that was really a fun idea for me. I thought, hey, I haven't seen that show. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, definitely something different, and I love seeing, another side to a different kind of family, a more modern family, might you say?
Well, yeah. I mean, if Modern Family wasn't called Modern Family, I'm sure this would be called Modern Family. How about that?
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much. My time is up, but it's been great speaking with you.
Jordan.
The pleasure was ours. Right? The pleasure was ours. Trust me.
It's Jordan.
We enjoyed it way more than you.
Jordan.